Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Parkinson's Podcast. Welcome to the Hear, Hear Parkinson's Podcast, where you will hear from special guests covering the world of Parkinson's with a deep dive on the World Parkinson Congress and a look at how the WPC has helped make extraordinary progress in the Parkinson's community by creating space for people with Parkinson's to have a seat at the table.
All right, welcome to Hear Parkinson. It's the WPC podcast. And my name is Eli Pollard. I'm the executive director at the WPC, and I am here today with George Ackerman, who is the founder of TogetherForSharon. Really excited to have this time to talk with you, George, and hear about your great work in the community and talk a little bit about, what you're most excited about next year for the World Parkinson Congress. So George is dialing in from, you're down in Florida, right, George?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I am here in New York, really excited to have this time. George, tell our listeners just a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I want to thank you, Eli, the whole staff, and so many that we wouldn't have time for a show if I thanked because you're all just, to me, an inspiration, heroes, and what keep me going on tough days. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm in South Florida now. I have always had a passion to help actually victims of crime. That was my career. I'm a police officer and an attorney, and my PhD is in criminal justice. So I'm currently a professor. I teach online around the country. But abruptly, my real life and my mission kind of, in a way, paused or stopped when my mother battled Parkinson's. But the last 4 years, I became her full-time caregiver. She had it for what I've now learned almost 18 years, but didn't really tell me or the family much. I heard the word Parkinson. I didn't know it was a disease. Didn't really affect her ability to live independently. But those last 4 years changed all of our lives, and that's what got me to not just be aware, but to do more than just be aware, to really be there by her side through this. And I always kind of say, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I coined the term secondary Parkinson because in criminal justice, there are secondary victims. We have a victim of crime, but the family members also become victims. But as a caregiver, someone with Parkinson's going through all the stages, I felt like I, along with her, felt each diagnosis, each step, each moment. And since she's been gone on 1/1/2020, she passed. I feel like a part of me also left the world. But because of individuals like you, because of the World Parkinson Congress and the incredible advocates I've now met and become family, I do feel her memory lives on. And I want to thank you all for that.
Well, thank you, George. I mean, I that term you coined, the secondary Parkinson's, is so incredibly accurate. I mean, we always say that when someone has a Parkinson's diagnosis, it's not just theirs, it's their whole families. But to be able to just coin a term like secondary Parkinson's encapsulates that in a really powerful way. I absolutely agree with you. And I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that was a complete earth shattering sort of experience for you. And I think one thing that I've been fascinated about with you, and I said this to you before we started the podcast, I feel like you came on the Parkinson's scene and you hit the ground running. Like a lot of people who show up in the Parkinson's community, whether they're family members or people with Parkinson's, a lot of times they show up and they sort of hang out for a while to sort of figure out, like, what is my path? What should I be doing? What can I be doing? And it seemed to me like when I first saw you and first heard from you, you weren't hanging out, you were just jumping in. You just literally jumped in and you were like, I'm going to do the podcast. I want to interview people. I'm writing books on this. And I know you have an image, people can't see it because we're not on video, but you have an image of your first book. That's your first book, right? On the screen behind you. Tell me a little bit about, oh my gosh, I mean, you've written now 2 books, 3 books. Okay, oh my God. Okay, so he just held up his fingers, you guys, 8 books. I'm feeling ill-prepared. I was thinking about Parkinson specific. What are the Parkinson specific books? Have there been 8 of them? Holy moly, George, I'm sorry. I really did not realize that. So tell me just a little bit about that. First of all, I mean, you have a PhD, you're a lawyer, you're a former police officer, and you've written 8 books. Total underachiever, George, and you clearly do not have vision and energy to do anything in life. No, that's incredible. So tell us about well, the one that's A Son's Journey, which I know is really it was a very emotional and powerful book. I want to hear a little bit about that, and then about the most recent one. Tell me a little bit about A Son's Journey.
I mean, honestly, since I'm a pretty honest guy. I was brought up that way. I didn't want to write any books. You know, I never dreamt I would even be in this space. I have published on the law and criminal justice, but that was my career. But I shifted because when I was battling with my mother, Parkinson's, and her diagnosis, really felt alone. I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't know if there was anyone out there. And shockingly, I learned just, recently my mother didn't know anyone even had Parkinson's but her, and I believed it because we never heard of it really. We went to 15 medical professionals, world renowned. They just couldn't really help her slow the progression, and I still to this day don't understand what happened because, as we many are aware, you don't die of Parkinson's, you die with it. So she was only, to me, 69 is very young. 2025, you'd think I could be naive, but I think you should live till 85 plus. And obviously, it's a struggle daily, but you're still with your loved ones. But some reason it accelerated. I don't blame doctors or anybody but the disease. So I didn't plan on these books. I just felt as I was doing this for the last 5 years, there's a lack of awareness for certain topics, and that's really what I focus on. I do want to share. 2 years after my mother passed, I thought there were about 1.2 million people in the U.S. battling Parkinson's. I didn't even think of out of the U.S., and that's what I wanted to just share. World Parkinson Congress and you, Eli, have changed my life forever. You've not only opened a door, but also to bring awareness to the world. When I found out there were 10 million people worldwide battling Parkinson's, my heart kind of broke a second time. But
Hmm.
instead of, the first years, it was more about my mother and I. Instead of continuing that journey, I decided, you know what, it can't be just about us. It has to be about everybody worldwide because we have to be family in this fight. And that's when I discovered, ironically, just on social media, I think a Facebook post, the World Parkinson Congress. And that, from that day, honestly, for 3 years, has changed my life because I've interviewed over 1,500 people written worldwide, many
Amazing.
advocates, but also from different countries, and then our show, 300 shows, which I don't know how much more I'll be able to keep up with that because it is, as you know, tough. But I would never have met, I can say names, I won't now, but people diagnosed from Iceland to England to France, Spain, Italy, Africa, eye-opening, shocking, and just some of the stories from, Africa where they consider witchcraft and things that I felt we needed to bring awareness to. That's what brought TogetherForSharon.com to the world. I thought we'd have 3, 4 people see it, and I would have been happy with it. But it's an honor to know there's been over 50,000. There's a little secret counter on the page that was there, and it tells you how many people have visited. But in a way, sometimes I'm sad that there's that many people that found it because that means, more people are being diagnosed. And then sometimes I feel like I didn't do enough, even though there's not many more hours in the day. But that's the reason for the journey. The Son's Journey, my first book, was in 2024. I had kept I call it a little bit of a secret, a journal of my own caregiving. In the last year, I kept video and wrote a journal, which I never shared with anyone. And then I just decided, I was shocked to find out, and even today, I challenge everyone. I was the only son in the world, like literary world, who wrote a book about their mother who had Parkinson's. And I challenge everyone to not, I don't want to be the only one. I want everyone to be a voice. And some of the other topics, again, one was on policing of Parkinson's, which has been a lifelong mission now for me because I feel currently police departments are not aware of Parkinson's disease, and that can cause a life-ending issue. It's actually a pro-police book, so it's not one to kind of, you know, negative or bring negative publicity to police. I think it's a positive book,
Mhm.
both for people with Parkinson's and people and caregivers and law enforcement. My department, I have exciting news, bought 200 copies, provided all throughout the city of Lantana, Florida. And, that's a start. If it now spreads to other cities, other counties, and throughout the United States, we can change the world together. But my really only dream with that is to have the words Parkinson's disease added to every police academy and every sworn officer training world, countrywide, and that's not even any cost. That's like a simple thing that could be done. And I do not want what happened with other diseases. For example, autism, an officer unfortunately took the life of somebody and not
Mm.
knowing. It's not even the,
Yeah.
intent. It was not knowing. And I feel like if we don't all get together, do something and share this. I even did an hour PowerPoint presentation completely free on Together for Sharon. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. I just want people to be aware.
Yeah, it's amazing, George. And you hit on a topic around the policing. I mean, first of all, to have you write the book is great. You are a former police officer, and
Still
you kind of,
current. Yeah, I'm still active. I'm not a,
oh,
I'm reserved right now, but because of
okay.
time, yeah, I'm still active.
Okay, so an active police officer, I think that you hit on something so important. You know, we do a program for every Congress called the Parkinson Ready Program. And that program is a training program for the host city so that they can get ready to welcome our delegates. Now, when we host the World Parkinson Congress, of course, not all of our delegates have Parkinson's, but a large portion of them do. And so if you've got 1,000 people with Parkinson's showing up in Phoenix, we need to make sure that the police officers, the fire department, the customs officials, they all know. We also train hotel staff, convention center staff, taxi drivers. We train everyone. But training the police officers is so important because they need this information. And, you know, we hear so many people with Parkinson's, and a lot of times their interactions are things like someone might think they're drunk, and the police officer might think they're drunk because they stumbled or because, and then they talk to them and maybe they slurred their words and they don't know how to help and they don't know the questions to ask. And so, right, it's just about education. It's just about helping people raise awareness so that they don't immediately assume something and instead they take a minute to ask a question. But I love that there's a definite need for that, and I hope that your book does very well. I hope the I don't know if there's a National Association of Police Officers. Hopefully they take your book in and they share it and share that resource because what a gift, I mean, to the community and so valuable. So thank you for doing that.
This episode is brought to you by two of our friends who are sponsoring the World Parkinson Congress, our friends at Blue Rock Therapeutics and our friends at Rune Labs. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about both of these great partners. Blue Rock Therapeutics is a clinical stage cell therapy company focused on developing cellular medicines for people living with neurological and ophthalmic diseases. Blue Rock's investigational cell therapy for the treatment of Parkinson's is currently being tested in a phase 3 clinical trial called Expedite 2. You can learn more about that trial and other things that Blue Rock is doing on their website at www.bluerocktx.com. Now, our other sponsor for this podcast, our friends at Rune Labs. Let me tell you a little bit about what they're doing. Strive PD is a free app powered by Rune Labs that uses FDA-cleared Apple Watch and iPhone movement data. Strive PD helps people with Parkinson's understand their symptoms, optimize their therapy, and stay connected to their care team. For premium access, Strive PD Guardian provides proactive coaching and personalized AI reports that offer support between visits, helping individuals improve quality of life and receive the right treatment at the right time. Download Strive PD for free on the Apple App Store, or you can visit their website to learn more and also download it straight from their website at www.strivepd.com today. I'm excited to say you will be able to visit with both of these companies at the upcoming 7th World Parkinson Congress in the exhibit hall, as they will both be exhibiting. Now, back to our podcast.
Um, so you've run this podcast now. Like you just launched your podcast and you said you've interviewed now 1,500 people. Is that what you said?
If you go to TogetherForSharon.com, click interviews, there's 1,500 or more written interviews. So those were actually more because a lot of people, as you know, don't want to be on camera, and
Yeah.
some kind of just like my mother didn't realize there were other people out there. And the reason I do the show, again, completely voluntary, is that so many people like yourself to put you on the spot that inspire so many. But I feel there are others that aren't aware, and I want everyone to know throughout the world that the incredible things you're doing and that they're missing an opportunity to attend, like myself, the World Parkinson Congress, Arizona 2026. I feel, I hate to say it, but to me, it's going to be like walking into, again, it's to me, it's like Disney World. I don't want to be, it's not like the same, but to me, because I've met over 3,000 people virtually and online who become heroes, advocates, and people that are now my family. So it's just going to be, I don't think I'll be able to get down the hall. So, and that's
Yeah,
something I've always, in a way dreamed of, although it's a place you don't want to have to be because you've probably been affected by Parkinson's. It is a
true.
community that you love because, or I do, because they have open their arms to me. And the only journey today that breaks my heart is the one that I'm not aware of.
Oh, that's so on point, George. I do think when you get to the World Parkinson Congress, you aren't going to be able to walk down the hallway. Everyone's going to be saying, "Hey, George, it's great to see you." So, one of the things we always tell people when they attend the WPC for the first time, and this will be your first World Parkinson Congress, is that you have to expect that your time in what we call the unconference. So, this is the part where you're not sitting in the lecture halls, but you're in the hallways or walking to the hotel or sitting at the hotel restaurant or sitting around the pool or in the gym, whatever it is, when you're out of the actual learning rooms, the sessions, we call that the unconference. And you could literally spend all your time in the unconference. You don't even have to attend a session, and your entire 4 days will be packed. So one of our bits of advice is always that when you look at the program, and the provisional program is on the website now, that you really look at the program and choose one talk a day that you definitely want to see, something you really want to learn about and better understand, and that you commit to going to one thing a day so that you don't get to the end of the conference and think, I didn't go to a single session. But of course, if you don't, and that's what you need, and you need that interaction in the hallways, that's fine too. There is so much going on at the Congress between the scientific program, the wellness program, and the creativity program. You could, I mean, we probably need 10 days for people to experience it all, but we've only got 4. So
Right?
what's your most thing you're sort of, this is your first WPC. What are you most sort of looking forward to?
Well, the fun size meeting Parky finally. But,
Life-size party, yes.
yeah, I mean, I think the topics are critical for me. I even told my wife the other day, I feel like I've accomplished everything I've set out. It was in a quick time just because sometimes if something bothers me, whether it's in my career, family, or life, I try to put it almost in a list and accomplish each goal and then find a new one or set a new one. The only thing left for me, honestly, is I'd love to do a little documentary. I documented my mother's toughest and last year of her battle with Parkinson's, and I don't feel people like to hear about it or talk about it. And I think it's time, and not to shock the world, but they need to understand. I have a friend named Michael, and his wife Rebecca is going through like literally almost identical, even though every journey is different. What my mother had at the end of life. So we send our love to him and his family and everybody out there battling. But my dream and the only really remaining thing, of course, I'll still advocate, but is to find someone to help me out there, do a documentary on my mother. It could be just 5 minutes, but I wanted to really show, her life before, during, and then how her memory still lives on through all the advocacy and all of you and your listeners. Because again, if we only reach one person today, of course, I'll have more, but if we only reach one person, and we show them that they're not alone and that there are other people out there maybe struggling, but if you reach out, if you attend the World Parkinson Congress, if you just go to World Parkinson Congress's social media and read it and watch the shows, not just ours but all of them, it has helped me through many tough days. Even rewinding back again to about 20 like about 3 years after my mother passed, I thought I was still alone, as a person now living with Parkinson's, no longer a caregiver of someone living with PD. I fall into this odd third section, which I've written a book about called An Empty Seat at the Table, where there were many days because I'm not currently caring for someone who had Parkinson's. There's still, I feel, millions and millions beyond the diagnosed, not to, forget them, but of people out there around the world who lost someone due to Parkinson's. And I feel often they're in a way forgotten. Some of them do want to move on and get back to life, but there are people like me who don't want to forget.
Mm.
I feel that my mother lost 15 years or even more alive with Parkinson's, and I feel 15 after. and I don't feel she should be forgotten due to the disease.
Yeah, I absolutely hear you, and I support that journey. I mean, you have to navigate it. Each person's journey is different. So what you're dealing with is, but it gives you give people a model to see what can happen. And it gives, and I do know there are people who have lost loved ones with Parkinson's, and sometimes they wonder, where do I fit now? Like my partner, my husband, my mother, my father, my loved one is not here. So am I even part of the Parkinson's community? And to me, my response to that is yes. Once you're impacted by Parkinson's, you're always a part of the Parkinson's community. I don't know if you know this, George, but at the WPC, we have a space. It used to be called the Care Partner Lounge. And now we're expanding it. It's going to be the Care Partner sort of classroom and Care Partner Lounge. And when we say that, really family, it's the family, classroom and family lounge. And so it's a space for people to, people who are impacted by their loved ones having Parkinson's to come together both to learn, because we'll have presentations in that room from doctors, social workers, nurses, people who are care partners and carers who've been in this journey. But then there'll also be a room to just like hang out and talk and do whatever you need to do. And that space is I will say, two of the people who are organizing that, three of the people who are part of that space are people who have lost spouses with Parkinson's. And they're so valuable to our community because they know what it is to be a partner of somebody with Parkinson's and to have a family member. And they're still giving. They're still showing up and they're still helping other people navigate, like you said, this very, very, very challenging later stages of diagnosis and what that journey looks like. So I hope when you come to the Congress Church, you'll visit that family classroom and lounge. I think you'll find it really valuable and so important that um, we make sure our care partners and family members know they're always a part of this space. You're not alone. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So what's next for you, George? You just published this one book. Are you already like mulling the topic of the next one?
No, I mean, I had a specific amount of like topics. I just, when I advocate, I kind of keep my eyes out and see what's out there. I wish everyone else covered the topics, so I wouldn't have had to, but I feel like I have accomplished them all. Just recently, we released a book called, it's actually one that means a lot to me, which is Sports, Exercise, and Slowing the Progression of Parkinson's. I
Mm.
had an interesting idea, and what it was is my mother, she couldn't do a lot of sports. But what happened is she really just gave up. She didn't know there were other sports. So what I had in my mind is why not explain 30 sports, literally, like talk about different sports so that if you don't like, ping pong, you can still do bowling. Or if you don't like bowling because of, Parkinson's has kind of progressed, you can do other things. So I just wanted people to know that there are many, many opportunities and that until we have a cure, which isn't, happening today, we still have to care for those battling. And my idea was amazing to me, but we had complications. So what happened is that I gathered about 30 advocates worldwide, many diagnosed with Parkinson. And some would think I'm crazy, which I might be, but I decided why not write,
Are we all a little
yeah,
crazy, George?
why not write a book? I would be, kind of put it together, but I don't believe like I'm the main writer. So we had 30, almost 30, I think 28 writers. Each one picked a specific sport that they tried. A lot of them actually some are ambassadors at World Parkinson Congress. And my ultimate goal is each would share their journey. And they had three sections. One was the name of the sport, so pickleball, then the person who was doing the sport, and then their journey and how it slowed the progression. But the biggest thing at the end, which I'm still excited to tell you, is it's available at TogetherForSharon.com if you click books. But I had every single author go to Amazon and upload it through Amazon on their own. So what does that mean? That means that my goal was that I don't get anything from it except every author was my goal was or intention was that they would gain funding to help with their diagnosis. And again, I just was involved with the book, but they didn't do that. They charged me a ton of money, and I don't get any of it back. That was for awareness, nothing to do with Parkinson's. But I brought Parkinson's to the book. It was more of a caregiver. But my goal really in life and anything is that people never have to pay for medicines, or people never have to, pay for things that that deal with Parkinson's, whether a cane or a wheelchair. I spent 12,000 a month, our family, the last year to just try and keep my mother at home, and that's tough. And I don't think anyone should have to go through that. And that gets into a different show again about Medicare, long-term disability. As a lawyer, there's so much. So we wrote a book on the law too, because I just don't think people are aware of things. So not to jump to each book, but this, my goal is not about money, even though I do hope everyone would. And today, if you go to Together for Sharon, purchase any book on, today's date or even before the World Parkinson Congress, we'll donate 100% to the World Parkinson Congress, because I don't do this, again, any of my work or advocacy for funds. It's to help support other incredible organizations like the World Parkinson Congress and Eli. But I have to honestly, again, tell you, that there have been days that I struggle and I'm still grieving 5 years later. And if it wasn't for you, Eli,
Mm.
Edgar, Ruby, Sparky, I don't think I would be able to make it. Advocacy I do because it helps me get through the day, and I miss my mother, my best friend, every day. And I know she still lives in a way through us all. But I give a lot of speeches. I have a, big mouth and proud of it. I'm a lawyer and Kyle, but there's one speech I gave for the Michael J. Fox Foundation during the national plan. It was a quiet, virtual, three people meeting, and I spoke in front of 1,000 people, no problem. I love it. But I fell apart because it's very hard to still talk about my mother and think, some reason, even the positive stuff we love, but it always goes back to that last year of her struggling, and that's still some of the tougher days. But I again encourage everyone to reach out to support all that you're doing, because there are, again, many days I couldn't make Barcelona. I was heartbroken because it's tough due to my own medical issues and work, which will be funny because I usually travel with 4 laptops. So Homeland Security stops me at every airport. Thankfully, I'm on law enforcement, but so it's tough for me to travel and get to events live, which is why I love that we even are talking virtual today. But putting on, the videos and watching some of the clips of Barcelona, I was like so motivated, so excited, but also so upset I wasn't there, because being a part of this is like not just legendary to me, but life changing. And even if it's a once in a lifetime thing due to my own health, I am so excited. And, I am already planning every day and sharing it with everyone I know, that I just feel that it's an opportunity that everybody has to at least try, whether it's one time, every time. So just so excited and grateful for that opportunity.
Well, thanks, George. I'm really excited for you to have the WPC experience. I think that it can be quite life-changing, and you will just be in a massive convention center full of people who are all connected to Parkinson's and all there for the same reason, to slow the progression, to find a cure, to find new treatments, and to support each other. And I have talked to a lot of different family members, care partners, people with Parkinson's, and I asked them how they felt when they get there. And a lot of them say, I felt seen. And you will be in a space where people will get you immediately. And I think you're going to get so much out of it, as much as you imagine. That's my hope for you. Um, so one thing I want to make sure we talk about, because you are a prolific author, is that we do have the Book Nook at the WPC, and I'm assuming you've already submitted your books to be in the Book Nook, at least the most recent book or two books.
Yeah, I tried not to submit all because I wanted other people to have the opportunity. But again, it's hard because it's like you might not see. I have one more I'm working on, which I don't know if I want to announce yet, but it means a lot. It's actually a children's book. I had a list of books I wanted to do in that one because I have 3 children. I'm still, honestly, again, 5 years later, having struggling explaining to my 3 children what happened to their grandmother, because my youngest might not even remember her. He was only one. My middle remembers her and misses her, but my oldest, Brooke, they had a special bond. And it was, my mother had 2 boys, and she always dreamt of having a daughter, but didn't. So when my wife and I announced to her, I never forget, at a dinner at having Chinese food in Boca Raton, Florida, that we're having our first child, and it's a girl. My mother cried, real cry, but really because she bought dresses and dolls, because she always dreamt of doing that. And they had a great opportunity to do it. But my oldest one saw a lot of the progression, and It's
Yeah.
very difficult for children to understand, and I always wanted a tool, to be able to give to children and show them. So I'm proud to announce that you don't have visual, but I have a picture of the finally of the cover, and it'll be out in 2026. But I did submit it one or two, but I think the sports one I left for many of the other authors because, again, I just want our books to be out there. I wish I could win. I always tell my wife we don't play, but we need to win the lottery, and then literally, and I know you believe me, but I would donate a book everywhere worldwide. I would probably your whole chair, every chair at the World Parkinson's, if allowed, would have a book for free. It just, you put a lot of time, heart, and effort into it, and it's expensive to get a book sold, or not sold, but shipped and just printed. So I've been donating, like you probably know, all the funds except for shipping and printing to every organization out there that wants it. It's just not easy to get books out there, but we couldn't even get published, so we self-published, which I'm proud of because it's not easy. But the media is another area, politics, all these, we need everybody, celebrities. I don't really care much about the celebrity thing, but we need every celebrity. We've had the honor on TogetherForSharon.com. If you click, I think it's media and then celebrities, we've had several big time name people. And sadly, we had Jack Osborne give us a message for awareness before Ozzy passed, which we sent our love to their family. Had Brett Favre. We've had many of the cast of Back to the Future. I had the honor to meet Mr. Fox a few years ago, and I feel like they might be able to reach more people. And I think again, I might be one voice, one person, one son, but together our voices are so much stronger.
Absolutely. That is such a great message. Well, I'm excited to see your books with the plural with an S in the Book Nook. For those who don't know, the Book Nook is a space at each Congress. It's not a bookstore, it's just a space where we highlight books that have been recently published, so in the last 3 years. Um, we put all of the books out. We let people sort of thumb through them and see like, oh, and then we have an order, sort of an order form with all the books listed. So you can kind of walk through all and look at all the books, 40, 50, 60 books, and you can sort of make a note and say, okay, I definitely going to buy a copy of this, 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 and this. And then, you go home and you've got that summary. And then we create a space in the Book Nook for author meet and greets. And some of the authors get pulled up onto the main stage in the exhibit hall to do a deeper dive on a specific conversation. So we really do, honestly, I think our community is incredible. Not just people like you, George, with your books, but also other people in the health space, the doctors, the health professionals, the other advocates, people living with Parkinson's. The books that they put out are inspiring and an incredible treasure of information about Parkinson's. So we do create that space, and the Book Nook is always very fun. I think last time we had ending Parkinson's authors. So Dr. Oken, Dr. Dorsey, and Dr. Bloom were there, the three of them. And it was like people were lining up because it was like meeting the rock stars. They were all crammed into the Book Nook to meet these three brilliant doctors. But they also, they don't just go to that. They stick around, right? So everyone followed them. They had drinks with them later. I mean, that's the feeling at the WPC is that we're in this together. So like you said, George, we're in it together. And that's the feeling you get at the WPC. I think you'll see that when you get there. I'm very, very excited that you're able to come. Um, all right. So we've gone through our podcast. We have a way that we wrap up our podcast, George, and I'd love to ask you some questions. These are the fun questions,
I
but
think the whole thing was fun.
right, these are the low pressure questions. Um, I think I already know what you're going to say to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So, George, you're trapped in an elevator for a short period of time. Who would you like to be trapped in the elevator with?
My wife, my mother, my family, but also it won't fit. But everybody out there who's feels alone, because again, I have to thank you again, Eli, and your whole staff, Al, Julie, everybody, Edgar, Ruby, because there are some tough days out there for me, and if it wasn't for all of your support, and including me, and like this, and even before this, coming on our show. I don't know if I'd make it through some of those tough days. So that elevator has to be really large, an extra large, we have to have Parky too, even though I love he or she came on our show, you might know, and it was a great conversation, even though they didn't speak. So, so
I love that you had Parky on your show. I think that's amazing. Yeah, Parky will be in life-size Parky will be wandering around the World Parkinson Congress, greeting and meeting people, and taking naps during the heat of the day. But we'll certainly be around. Um, Amazing. Okay, so the family in the elevator. I love that. That's a great answer. One other question, George. This is an Edgar question. You're on a desert island. You're dropped on a desert island. Um, you have a little bit of shade, and you have weirdly a solar powered record player. It doesn't need any electricity. It's solar powered record player. You can take one record to play a song or a particular album. What would you take with you on your desert island?
I play guitar for 15, 20 years now, and I love music, and my mother's piano keeps going because my daughter takes lessons now. That's a tough one. I mean, I have to probably say Frank Sinatra. So,
Nice.
anything really. I mean, I had the honor as a child with my grandmother, both of them, my mother, father, and myself when I was a child to see Mr. Sinatra in Madison Square Garden, New York, growing up. So
Amazing.
that was a memory. But I think today he's not, we need more music like that. But a lot of the things he said lives on, even today, and inspires me. I've even used the music, some of our, posts and things on social media, but that's probably what I would go with, Mr. Sinatra.
Amazing. Always a good choice.
Mhm.
Frank Sinatra, amazing. And being a New Yorker, born and bred New Yorker, that is appropriate. Well, I want to thank you, George, for making time to come on our podcast today. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in Phoenix. And I really thank you for all your advocacy and awareness work and really helping to connect the community. The connections are incredibly important in our community. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you too, and the whole World Parkinson Congress. Again, I try literally, as you hopefully know, to share something about the World Parkinson Congress every day, 365 days a year, even beyond Arizona, because I just want people to be aware. And I wasn't for many years, and I'm so lucky that I did find a place at the World Parkinson Congress and a family here worldwide, because you're all doing such amazing things. And one last note, send our love to everybody out there, our support. You're not alone. I, along with Eli, as I said in our show, will fight and advocate for you. And I feel our voices are so much stronger. And this conversation, after the lights and camera and paparazzi leave, has to continue, because until there's a cure, we have to care for all those still battling, but also memory all those, like my mother, that we've lost due to Parkinson's. So we send our love, support. Feel free to reach out, togetherforsharon.com. You're going to get me always, because it's just me. Even people, for some reason, think we're a giant thing, but it's literally just me. And try my best. Some days I feel like a truck rolled over me, and I have to, take a minute. But then I look to Eli, I look to all of you listening, and everybody attending, or even those who attended in the past and the future. And that's really what drives me to never give up. So again, we send our love. Thank you, Eli, for this moment, and Edgar, an honor to have both of you on our show. And we send our love. Thank you all.
Amazing. Thank you so much, George.
Thank you for listening to the Here Parkinson's podcast. We hope today's conversation inspired you. If you'd like to experience the energy, connection, and impact of the global Parkinson's community firsthand, join us at the 7th World Parkinson Congress, May 24th to the 27th, 2026 in Phoenix, Arizona. Learn more at wpc2026.org. This podcast series is made possible with support from Blue Rock Therapeutics and Rune Labs.